And they don't know what this is.
Right.
They don't know what realm they're walking around in. It's it's just, and that's just mind blowing to me. I mean, I've been out of this thing for so many years.
Right.
I've been out of this for so many years.
When you plug back in, right.
Like I'm like somebody who's been living in the Amazon.
Yeah. Like Tarzan, and you come
Yeah.
back to humanity.
Yeah.
When you plug back into humanity,
Right.
you know, it doesn't.
I'm in the Amazon. I walk out and they get all this bullshit.
Right. Right.
Huh?
Yep. Well, this is a big issue, believe it or not. I mean, with a lot of the people I talk to who have a knowing of this, it's hard to be in the world with all the bullshit going on and still keep your sanity, because you're dealing with 90% of the conversations are absolutely meaningless and have nothing to do with the real being.
Well, you can't even get him there.
No.
You can't even get him there to like consider.
Right. Right. She bumped aggressively and didn't even have a conversation because that's their rule.
Yeah. Like you can't even get them to a place to even
Be open to it.
have a thought, be open to a thought
Right.
of like thinking
Right.
about something else.
So when you know this
Because
stuff, you're now,
anything
when you know,
different is
Right.
crazy.
right. So when you know some of the things like this, it's like the Matrix, and you see the Matrix and the numbers going, and you're back in it, but you know the real reality. And when you're in the Matrix with the real world where everyone else operates, it's hard to participate in the drama. Did you hear what so and so said on this? And now with the election coming up, and all that is meaningless nonsense. All of it is distraction to keep us from the real reason why we're here,
Yeah.
which is to know ourselves, which is knowing God, which is the deep conversation. So we deal with all the news, which I have an acronym. You've heard it, probably negative energy without substance. News, negative energy without substance. All the distractions, and especially in today's day and age. Look at this thing. You know how much time people spend on this distraction? This sucks away lives. Lives. The world is full of distractions. So when you know this stuff and you're in the world, it's hard to engage in those distractions. And then you deal with the drama that you just mentioned, and you're like, how much time do I invest in this, or just walk away?
Hey, but and the thing, here's the thing that it's not just people running around out there that don't know God. Okay, like they'll literally say, "I'm an atheist."
Right, right.
Oh, okay.
Right.
It's not just that. It's people that are like call themselves Christians.
Right.
And they say, God, God, Jesus, Jesus.
And won't talk to their brother or sister.
They're freaking in the middle of this crap too.
Right, right.
I'm like,
Which everyone...
I'm telling you, I walked out of that when I was 34 years old.
Right.
And to look back at it, I go, what in the hell?
Right,
What in the hell
Yep.
are you thinking?
right.
It's just
Well, what they're thinking is...
blows me away.
Well, here's what I've found is what they're thinking is exactly what they've been programmed to think. It's a one big program in the matrix of the world that makes you think good and bad, that makes you think right and wrong, that makes you think your way or the highway, and either people follow your way or they piss you off and they're in out of the friend zone, out of the circle of trust. And it happens in families. It happens with the closest of friends. Well, what they did is out of my forgiveness zone. No way can I forgive that. No way can I understand that. No way.
And then they say they.
No way can I love
believe in
that.
grace. You know, the same thing. I'll hear people grace, 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 and then a situation comes up.
Well, not that. Yeah, that's too much. Okay.
Well, time out.
Right.
Well, you're just like, see, you're just taking this grace thing way too far, Dan.
Well, on the topics, I mean, like the one we just chatted about, the topics that are out there in the world. People that are gay are possibly in scenarios where they're married to someone who's not gay, heterosexual, and then they realize they're they've been playing a game and hiding, and they come out, and then when they come out,
Well, the thing is, they grow up in a culture and a world and a theology that says they can't be.
can't be yet.
They can't be that.
Right.
So your brain,
Triggers wrong.
it's just like you being in a bad marriage or shutting yourself down,
Yep.
whatever that is.
Mhm.
What happens is, you shut down long enough,
You lose yourself.
yeah, and so,
You can't just.
and then all of a sudden, it comes up, and you can't deny it.
And you just want to be.
And
yet when
then you
be
just want to be
right.
who you are.
Yet
who you
that
are.
pushes away
And
somebody
then
in
the
a circle.
outward appearance guy is sitting over there in the corner, and he's watching this, okay? And he's seeing, oh no, wait a minute, this person was married to this person, so they're not really gay, they're just now deciding now
Choosing.
to make a choice to be gay.
Right.
But the truth is, the whole freaking time of their life,
They were suppressing.
inside there's this struggle.
Right.
But
Well, think about
we're
that.
just going to disregard that.
Yeah.
We're going to disregard that and just say, that's bad.
Right. And since you've now chosen to be that, you no longer are chosen to be loved by me or can be in my presence. You're now shunned because you're choosing to be this way.
Yeah.
So for you being you, you're now out of the circle.
And I'm right because
Tells me. Because they misinterpret.
chapter verse, reading the Old Covenant.
Yeah.
Chapter verse, reading the Old Covenant said it ought not to be.
The old covenant is the key.
Yeah.
That's the representation of the old
The
covenant.
Old Covenant said it ought not to be.
Yeah,
The Old
what-
Covenant. I've said it, I've been saying it for 30 years.
Old covenant.
Okay?
Yeah,
And
first-
I will say it till I die. And I don't give a crap. The whole freaking world can tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, but that represents the Old Covenant.
And the new covenant only needs a couple sentences in there. Yet that's what was missed.
It
The real
explains
gift,
it.
the real gift of Jesus
It
coming.
explains it, but the New Covenant life is outside of this book.
Right.
The New Covenant is God putting His Word on the hearts of His people and us hearing it. Not going to the guru, not going to the guru, the expert, to know what to do, not going to chapter verse. It's going in here and find out who God is. God is not in the program.
Right.
He's not in the program. And man loves a program.
Right. Yep.
Give me a program. Give
Do
me a
this,
cause.
do this, don't
if
do
I
this.
Could
Right.
Give me a cause.
Yep.
If I could just have a cause, my life can add value in that. It's crazy.
Well, and the root cause is to know God by listening to what's written in your heart. And when you know that, you know you. Each of us are a piece of God.
Well, we don't know who we are, and we don't know what this is.
Right.
We don't know what this realm is we're walking through. We don't know. We think we know, by golly, but we don't know. If you're going to find God, you got to leave this realm. Because you know what realm He's in? He's in rest and peace. That's what realm He's in. He's not in performance, this performance realm. He's not in this right and wrong, good versus evil belief system realm. Listen, the only realm He knows is love.
Love, regardless of who or what anyone is or does. Right? And that's like you said, there's limits on where grace and where forgiveness can come in.
Yeah.
Yep. All of what happens is not a surprise to God.
We're the only one. Man is the only one that's judging whether something's right or wrong. He's the only one. And that's what this realm is. And this realm said, this realm has all this crap that pops up, and man just reacts to it, and the way he goes. And what we got to understand is the crooked will be made straight.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm saying you can know that now.
And
You know that now, today. The crooked can be made straight. Man, the thing that's bothering man is, well, there's unfairness in the world. There's unfairness. There's inequality. And how could a good guy allow a bad thing to happen to a good person?
Mm.
Well, guess what?
That's been throughout human
That's
history.
not what this world is. This world has harm in it.
And
This world has hurt in it. It has pain in it. And God uses all that, to wake us up, to try to wake us up. Because this is only about knowing God.
Mhm.
It's only about knowing God, and that's the last thing we're doing. It's the last thing we're doing.
What's happening out there, and I've witnessed it in my world travels, everyone's caught up in distraction, in entertainment, in keeping themselves busy from everything except knowing God, which comes from knowing self, right? Diving deep into what's written on your heart and being able to sit in calm and peace with yourself for hours at a time instead of having to be continuously distracted. Games, videos, nonsense, pulling your most precious continuous moment after moment into the tens of hours, and literally 10 hours plus a day. Most people are stuck to this portable device, draining and keeping them entertained and busy from the most important thing, which is getting in touch here, knowing what's written on your heart, which is knowing God.
All I'm saying is, at some point in time, you really ought to understand who you are, find out who you are, and what realm you live in. What is this? Man, this idea that you're going to walk through this realm without hurt and pain and suffering and
Yeah.
inequality and unfairness and hello.
That's the rules
You
of
know
the
why
game.
that's happening? It's because that's the way it was designed.
Yep.
Holy crap.
It's the game.
Holy crap.
The
It's
rules
been like that for
ever.
how many years do we have to see this happening in the world for us to go, gee,
That's how.
I got news for you. I tell you what you do, world. You keep trying to make something fair. Keep doing it. Okay? Keep trying to make something fair. You just keep doing that. Okay? And you keep trying not for anything to harm you or your family members. You keep doing that. You know what you're going to get? You're going to get the opposite. That's what you're going to get. The world is going to get the opposite. Every time you keep resisting how this world was designed by a creator, you're going to get the opposite. You don't like war? Well, guess what? You're going to get war.
Yeah, whatever you fight against, whatever it's pushed, you push, it pushes back. Right. When you just allow it to and recognize, yeah, that's how it's going to be. Like circling back to that guy that confronted me on the street the other day. The old me, prior to this type of stuff, probably would have been wrestling, fighting in the street with this guy. He approached me, told me he's going to kick my ass. The old Tom, the Marine Tom, would have been fighting this guy. The new me's like, interesting. Okay, let's see where this goes, God.
What do you want to do with this?
Right, this is interesting.
Right?
And it diffused the whole thing. I didn't push back.
And it's okay if you're rolling around the street. think it's a waste of energy, but what I'm saying is if that's where God takes you, that's where we're going.
Right.
Okay?
Right. I
But
just allowed it to
listen,
unfold. Okay.
Here's another thing. I'm going to just throw it out. I'm just going to say it.
Uh-huh.
This belief in free will is killing man.
Yeah, well, that's a tough one. Let's talk about this, because free will. The old me would have said, this guy confronted me, told me he's going to kick my ass because I was crossing in a legal crosswalk, and he's going to kick my ass. And I was just sitting there like, okay, this ought to be interesting. And I, in my old saying, would have been like, I chose to not fight the guy. But what I did was just allowed God's will to unfold the way that it was going to unfold. Because no matter what I thought I could have chose, yes, I could have punched him, I could have grabbed him, I could have rolled around, whatever. But I just surrendered to what God's will. And I literally said, this is going to be interesting. He was going to kick my ass for crossing the crosswalk legally. And I just said, okay, great. This ought to be fun. And I allowed it to unfold. Now, old me and a lot of people say, well, you chose to not fight.
That's the way the world sees it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, listen. We act like free will is a fact. Guess what? Free will is an assumption made by you.
And told to us at a very young age. The only thing that separates us from every other animal is we have free will. Well, so if we are an animal, and we agree we're an animal, do the geese have free will to say, you know what, this year I don't feel like flying south? Or are they programmed to fly south, right? And if they're an animal, and we're like, yep, they're programmed, how come we feel we're not programmed?
Because we're smart.
Because
we're smart. Okay. So what I'm saying is we're believing in an assumption.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happening is our eyes again,
Mm-hmm.
okay, our eyes are lying to us and telling us you have free will.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because we see ourselves doing things and we see ourselves making choices.
Mm-hmm.
And by golly, guess what? On top of that, we really don't like the idea
Mm-hmm.
of not having free will.
And we've been told it.
And guess
since
what tells us
young age.
that?
Humanity from our
Well,
young
the
age.
ego tells us that.
Mm-hmm.
The ego is telling us that. We are something and we matter.
Right.
By golly.
Mm-hmm.
The ego is telling us that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what does God say? He says, in order to find me, you got to lose you. Huh? Huh? Well, that's just bullshit. See what I mean?
Right.
Man, that's just hard on man. Okay, we're not going there. What are you trying to do? Tell me I'm a robot? Well, listen, the way he designed this, holy crap. Why is that such a problem for you?
Right.
What I'm saying is listen, I'm exchanging my will and my power and my belief in myself for the will and the power of God, the creator of the world.
Mm-hmm. Thy will be done.
Let me tell you something. I'll take that exchange every freaking day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's where peace and rest is.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're hunting for peace and rest in this realm, good luck.
Yeah. Peace and rest comes from getting in touch with the way I feel it is through intuition, and I'm like, hey, as I'm walking through life, my intuition is telling me go this way, go that way, and there's times when I resist that intuition, and it's kind of like the tap on the shoulder. When I resist it, it comes a little shove, and then if I resist it more, it pushes me down, and then I'm like, oh, that's what I was hearing, right? Following my intuition, which is God speaking through me, and here's something that you and I have chatted about, and you may or may not know who I am even, but I speak on stages around the world. And I used to have well-prepared slides and presentations until a few years ago. I said, you know what, I'm going to go with just wherever I feel it's going to go. And once I made that transition, I followed through with what it says in there. When you have to speak, don't worry about what needs to be said. Just allow it to flow through you. And that's when my presentations hit at such a deeper level. When I just trusted and followed, instead of having my plan and my agenda, just trusting and follow wherever it was going to lead. And the funny thing is, people would come up, hey, I'm excited to hear what you have to say today. And I said, so am I. I don't know what's going to come out. when I go up on stage in front of thousands of people, because I just allow it to flow the way that it feels it needs to flow. I have an idea of who the audience is and what they're seeking to hear, and then I just go wherever it feels it needs to go. And that's where you find rest and peace, instead of trying to push your will through this process. It's a much easier journey when you resign as the general manager of the universe. God's got that under control. I tried being the general manager of the universe and controlling what other people think, say, and do, and that's a really, it's impossible.
Yeah, again, it's the opposite of what you've been taught.
Yep.
Is he says, do without thought, don't bring your purse.
Mm-hmm.
What does man say?
Gotta have a
You
plan.
get the PowerPoint
Better have a plan.
slides up.
Right. What do you mean you don't have a presentation?
You better put the bullets down, the bullet points in the steps.
Yep.
You better have a map here.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of people question me, like, what do you mean you don't have PowerPoints? Exactly what I said. I don't have PowerPoints. Well, that's not right. Whoa, wait a minute.
It's not
That's
gonna
breaking
work.
the rules, right? And then afterwards, like, whoa, that was amazing. You know, so it is counterintuitive. It is what's opposite of what
I
we've
don't
been
know
trained.
why we think God. Here we are. We want to know God. I don't know why we think God thinks the way we think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
That makes no sense to me.
Right. If I was God, I would do it this way.
Like
right?
people think that like our body dies and we go into the next room and it's this.
Right.
It's like this. It's the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the same.
Yep.
I've had people tell me, well, you know, my mom died, you know, and, you know, she was upset at me, or, you know, and you know, I just wonder if you know, how she feels about me today. What?
Yeah.
You understand where she is?
Yeah.
I tell you what she feels, joy.
Yeah. Yep.
What else can she feel?
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't know anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me?
Yep.
It's not this.
Yeah.
It's not this belief system.
Right. Yep.
My gosh, you want to know God? You got to leave the church program.
Mm-hmm.
You got to quit talking to the guru. You got God inside you. He's all. Is that not enough?
Here's my interpretation of God's will, right? So God has been called the architect of the universe. That's a fair statement. Some people call him the architect of the universe. If you've ever dealt with an architect, first of all, a home or any construction isn't done without the architecture plan done, right? So if God is the architect of the universe and had this all finished before it was even created, He knew us. He knew us with every single hair on our head. He knew when and where we'd be born, by whom, and all this. He was the architect of the universe, which means the plans were done before it even was created. The plans, up until now, like, oh, this is not a surprise of how this is unfolding. The coming of Jesus was not a surprise. You know, what Jesus had to do in his time here was not a surprise. This was all planned, as you were prior to the creation. He was the architect of the universe. So, that being said, and from that perspective, everything that you could think, speak, or do is in this architecture. So it's all there, and we think, and it's designed to make it appear as if we have the choice, kind of like the Choose Your Own Adventure book. It appears as if we're making choices to turn left or turn right, yet it's all in the plan. It's all in the architecture. We're just unfolding as it unfolds in this unique experience where we're kind of, think of this like if God is in us, which is part of the plan. It's like a trick for God to see how long it takes before he realizes it's you. Holy cow, you look in the mirror, this is God looking back at you. Ah, the trick. God put himself in you, in each and every human here, and erased the knowledge that it is God. And here we are playing in this game, not knowing who we are and the power that resides in us, if we're willing to tap in and search for it. Seek and you shall find.
We get a Cadillac on the hill.
Mm-hmm.
The engine's running.
Mm-hmm.
And we're behind the frickin' car pushing it
Mm-hmm.
up the hill.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
It's crazy.
Jump in. Yep.
And so, listen.
And
Just
in
so
saying
you
that,
understand,
we're
talking about-
in saying that, that's not me and Dan have God and no one else does. Every human on the planet.
Everybody has God in them.
All inclusive.
I don't have more of God. Tom doesn't have more of God.
Right.
It's just that we're aware of God.
Right.
We're aware of something bigger than us. I don't know, this idea of freaking going through life believing in Dan, I'm telling you, I've been gone for so long. That idea of me believing in Dan is just, what? Huh?
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
Yeah. Dan's the body.
I mean, I don't even understand it anymore.
This is the vehicle that this
Yeah.
Dan is residing in.
I can't-
Right. And what's residing in you is the all. Is, all that is.
Why would I go to frickin' rabbi, bishop, prophet, pastor, priest, guru,
Which,
when I get God in me?
right.
Why would I do that?
And I would say in the beginning it's necessary to get the seeking to find the answers of the truth. Because the truth, must be sought after. And when you seek the truth, you'll find what I found and Dan found and many others that we've spoken to have found, that the stories just don't add up. And even the stories that are in here, there's so many missing pieces to it that it just doesn't make sense until you see the larger picture and you're like, now it makes sense.
Guys. If you do not understand the difference between the Old Covenant and the New Covenant, you shouldn't be reading that book.
And guess what? Most people don't know the
You-
difference. Everyone thinks the Old Testament, New Testament. It's not Old Testament, New Testament.
If you're going to a church program, I don't care what it is. I don't care if you're a Muslim, a Buddhist, or a Methodist, or a Pentecostal, or what the hell you are. If you do not understand the difference between the Old Covenant and the New Covenant, you should not be reading this book. And you should not be sitting under anybody up there standing up and saying, open this book and go to chapter, verse. You need to stop it. If you do not know the difference from the Old Covenant and the New Covenant, don't read that book.
Well, Dan, I'd say most people don't. Even the people that are up teaching in all those different religions,
They
they
have
don't
no
know.
idea.
They don't know the difference between the New Covenant.
They have
and
no
Old Covenant.
idea.
They think Old Testament and New Testament. There's the Old Covenant, which is all of this, and the New Covenant, which Jesus came to fulfill.
We are taking history and recycling it. We
What
This message that somebody started teaching 2,000 years ago. I shouldn't even say that because I used to teach, the New Covenant. But even back then, after the cross,
it was,
even
it was
the
still-
disciples.
It was still a mix of
Yeah.
the law. The law was fulfilled.
Because they couldn't comprehend it. They just
It's too
couldn't-
much.
they-
It's big. It's
yeah,
big.
it's too much.
We couldn't have meant that.
Yeah.
Couldn't have meant that.
So here we are. We send people to seminary or
To learn the
Bible
old
college,
covenant.
and they teach them the Old Covenant. What do? Well, they teach the Old Covenant to the masses.
In the New Covenant, I would say what you said. If you don't know the New Covenant, the difference between the Old Covenant and New Covenant, well, guess what? Even if you search, and hey, what's the difference from the Old Covenant to the New Covenant? You're going to find Old Covenant mixed in with the
Well,
New
they
Covenant.
think the New Testament's the
New Covenant.
New Covenant.
No.
It isn't.
Right.
Listen, here's where the New Covenant. See, here's Genesis to Revelation. Okay, the New Covenant's here.
It's here.
Yeah. And that New Covenant words are on the hearts of His people,
Which is all.
which is from the greatest to the least. And so you're living the New Covenant outside of that.
but it does give you a peek into. There's a few
It
sentences.
tells you what
there's,
it is.
There's only a few sentences
I know.
That are-
Jeremiah and Hebrews.
that are telling you what the new covenant
And
is.
it tells you. But my gosh, you can see the grace message in there.
Yeah.
You can see it in the epistles. You can see it. But you can't see it if you're walking around believing this is right and that's wrong. Which is the law. Which is the old covenant.
Which was fulfilled by Jesus.
Which was fulfilled a long time ago.
2000.
And we just can't teach that because we still believe it's about the behavior of man. And man needs to get saved. We're
So-
just convinced of it.
So Jeremiah and Hebrews help us. What's the summary of the new covenant? Jesus came to fulfill the old covenant. What's the new covenant?
Well, on the cross, he introduced the new covenant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in his death and his resurrection. And he needed the resurrection to do that. But listen, he needed that to deliver it to people
So you can see it.
who believe in what their eyes see. All of that, this story right here, it's a manifestation. Jesus was a manifestation of the thing that was done before the world began. Well, man can't wrap his head around that, so what we'll do is we'll come down here, we're walking around, and we'll let some freaking guy throw me on a cross and I'll hang there for 3 days. Maybe that'll do it.
He came back. Yep.
Okay?
So what did the
So-
new covenant introduce?
So what it did was it fulfilled that old law, set of laws that measured man's behavior, whether he was acceptable or not. And man took those laws and they tried to
The works.
work out being worthy and acceptable. You know, Christ kept saying
The Old
in his
Covenant.
book,
Yeah.
in the New Testament, to these people that believed it, who kept saying they could do it, he kept saying, no, you can't. So if you want to keep the law, then really what you're doing is working towards perfection. Because that's what he said, you'll have to be perfect. So, listen, he introduced the new covenant through the death of his son to show man that this was fulfilled. Now, he didn't destroy it. Why? Because it's still active. Look around. That belief system of this is right and that's wrong is still active. And all of that, it says in Timothy, the purpose of that was to show man that he was separate from God. That's what the law, the purpose of the law. So, under the law, man was separated from God. And now, under the new covenant, he says, we're no longer separated, but I'm in you and you're in me.
From the least to the greatest.
Yeah.
All. It's not a club.
So he did it. He did it. Had nothing to do with you and me. Why in the world do we incorporate us into something that has absolutely nothing to do with us? But we do. So he introduced the new covenant. And guess what? Just like back then, we don't believe it today. So we don't teach it to people. You know, so people are out there believing they're unacceptable. You know, we got gay people running around thinking they're unacceptable. Why? Because somebody's telling them they're unacceptable.
And name a group. I mean, there's us versus them happening everywhere. They're not right. We're right. They're not. We got to kill them.
It's the same.
Right. Yeah. So.
You know, like Seriously? You think that God what does he say? I don't look upon the outward appearance, I look upon the heart. Again, he doesn't think the way you think. I got to keep telling you that. I got to keep saying this.
Right. Yep.
Okay, so what do we do? You think he sees straight or gay? You think he sees color? What the hell? Listen. I'm saying this to the Christians, man. We got to stop. Please, don't ever come up to me and tell me you're a Christian. Don't tell me you believe in Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me you believe in God. Stop
it. I did a video.
This is insane what's going on. The insanity of man believing in his self is insanity.
Yeah. Recorded a video yesterday. The title was, "Do you trust me?" God.
Yeah.
God's asking us, "Do you trust me?" And a lot of us say, "Yeah, I trust you." Well, then
We say
really,
the words.
really, and God's like, "Really? Then
Yeah.
why do you have the fear? Why do you have the worry? Why do you have the hate? Why do you have the drama? Why do you have Why do you not have peace and rest?
Why don't
If you trust me."
Why don't you think that you're not reconciled,
Yeah.
or justified, or sanctified, or perfected? Why?
Yeah.
Why? I told you I did it. All I'm asking you to do is trust me with that. I don't care what your flesh is showing you. Yeah, the other day, listen, man, if you're listening to this freaking brain of yours, just so you know, this brain is going from praising God 1 second and wanting to watch porn the next.
Jumping all over the place.
And we think we control this thing.
Right.
That it's ours. That's another piece of bullshit that's running around this freaking realm here. And you know what? I really believe this time, in the future, people, I really do believe that they will know there is no free will. It'll be a common thing. But, man again, they'll connect that. They'll say the words, there's no free will. They'll say the words, but somehow, some way, they'll connect the freaking thing to them.
Right.
And there'll be some freaking guy, after I've been dead for 50 years, sitting here going, hello? That's not free will. So, listen, there's so many cells. This body is it's just pinging out data. It's throwing responses up to the brain. It's just going nuts, okay? And that mind is not your own. My gosh, take 3 minutes and think about that. Okay? You're smart. That mind is not your own. So, I don't know why we keep connecting. Well, yeah, but I can discipline my mind not to respond to those things. But I'll tell you what you really need to do. You need to die to yourself, to that self-belief that you can discipline your mind.
And people have heard that a lot, but how does that occur? How does one die to the self?
They gotta come to a place where they go, you know what, Father? I surrender. I'm going to give up the government of this life that I think is mine, and I'm going to hand it over. And tomorrow when I wake up, I'm going to walk through that day knowing that it was all prepared before I showed up. And I'm going to say, thank you, Father. As I walk through this day, in the world out there, is telling me I'm all screwed up.
Let the adventure unfold.
Yeah. I say, okay, well, Father, this is your world.
And for me, it's the intuition. I can sense directions that it's having me take steps in that day. And if I do follow my intuition, things work out amazingly. It's when I resist it and my ego sneaks in and tries, let me get control back, it's when it monkeys things up a bit.
Well, we start resisting, and what he's saying is, keep walking.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep walking. I open the door, just keep walking.
Yep. One step after the next.
Don't get paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, there's a choice here. Oh my gosh. What if I'm out of the will of God? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Should I go to New York or should I go to Boston? Oh no.
Yep. Follow that.
Ah.
Just go follow the intuition. Father, allow me
Listen, when you get this, it ain't going to matter if you go to the left or right.
Right. Yep.
He can take care of you whether you go to Boston or New York.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Follow. Take a step, though. Keep taking step
Just
after
keep walking.
step. Right. Yep.
So,
And expect
I don't know, this isn't-
in this game, the rules are there's going to be chaos, there's going to be frustration, there's going to be difficulties, there's going to be challenges. Like, all right,
buddy, you're going to be walking, there's going to be debris flying.
whoa.
There's going to be debris flying all over the place.
Yep.
You know?
Keep walking. Yep.
Keep walking. And what I'm saying is that's when you can come into peace and rest. This isn't complicated. This isn't complicated. This is just believing in something other than yourself.
We keep bringing up peace and rest, and in today's American society, there's lots of anxiety, there's lots of depression, there's lots of prescription pills and all this. Peace and rest is it sounds simple, but it's a far stretch for a lot of people. Peace and rest, whoa, I got a lot to go to get to peace and rest. Well, and it's fun, not funny, but I've had a few friends with their parents dying and stuff recently, and it's R.I.P., rest in peace. As you said, when we end this realm, we immediately have that rest in peace. But we can have rest and peace now when we understand the new covenant, when we understand, regardless of what we would deem bad choices, poor choices, or whoever and whatever we've done, it's okay. God's will has still flowed through us, whether we knew this or not. God's will, prior to all this creation occurring, was done. And just when you recognize that, you're like, all right, great. The creator of this all is guiding me each and every day, each and every moment, each and every word. I'm unfolding it. And as you said, don't overthink things, don't overplan. I have 3 words: stop, think, act. Oh, okay. Okay. But it's not stop and think and think and think and think and think and think and think. It's stop, think, act. So it's that quickly. And you get used to it, and as things come up, what feels right? Go with what feels right, and that's the intuition guiding you. And it makes it an amazing adventure. Think of it like that book. Remember, I used to love those books where, does Jimmy go in the closet or does he go to the hallway? Closet, turn to 55. Okay. Ooh, Rick, this is your choose your own adventure path that we're in. This is like a cool unfolding game. I used to think I could, I'm going to forge my way to that destination, and what I've found is when I've allowed it to unfold, I've achieved great results by world standards, not by having that as the think of climbing a mountain. All I've done is, I want to climb that mountain. And start taking step after step after step. Oh, dead end. Backtrack, find another way. Dead end. Oh, backtrack. But with the consistency and persistency of taking the steps, you get to the top of the mountain. And for anyone who's climbed a mountain, the journey's what counts. When you get to the top, you're like, all right. And you get back, there's no celebration at the top. It's like, I made it to the top. Okay, great. Ooh, that mountain over there looks cool. Yeah. And now you got to descend, and that's it. That's life. Some people, I'll be so happy when I get that house, when I get that car, when I get that person, when I get whatever. You know what? Ooh, this looks like a cool mountain to climb. And just start climbing it and enjoying the journey step by step. And there will be roadblocks, there will be skinned shins and skinned hands and all this stuff, but do that and watch how amazing life is versus well, okay, wait, before we climb the mountain, all right, bust out the pen and paper. How many steps do we take before we turn right? 25 steps. Okay, then when we turn right, you can't plan the mountain climb from the base of the mountain. I'm sure in your old company, I'm sure they wanted, Dan, you need to show me the plan of this whole mountain. You're like, what? You can't do the plan until you're in the journey. I can tell you afterwards, but until we're in it, I can't tell you. That's what life is. Find the mountain that you want to climb. Ooh, this looks fun. Start climbing it. And then, enjoy step by step. And then eventually you'll get to the top, like, oh, cool. What mountain do I want to climb next? That's the journey of life from my perspective. And it's just a much more fun, enjoyable experience than what I witnessed so many other trying to do. I don't know. Any words on that? Like, does that open up any insights?
Yeah, I think there's people are trying to control their world.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I tell you what, Tom, I know people. They look back and they have all these regrets.
Mm-hmm.
They get all these guilt.
Right.
They're all guilt-ridden.
Oh.
And oh my gosh, they're all affected.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because they connect all that to themselves.
Right.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And here they are, down the road of their life.
Thinking of previous mountains where they screwed
And
up.
they're looking at the past,
Mm-hmm. Beating themselves up now.
beating themselves up.
That doesn't sound like a fun ride to me.
Why? Well, because they think they're an independent self.
Right.
And they're creating their world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they say God, but I don't know, the question is, when does God show up
Mm-hmm.
in this God thing?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? When does he show up? When we decide he can show up? Well, God, he did this thing. It's like, you ever talk to people, oh man, I went a week, did this thing, and God just did this thing, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's a freaking miracle!
Yep. Whenever stuff.
I think God was in that.
Right. Yeah.
Damn, this thing happened, and I think God was in that.
Really?
I think that was a definite a time, and when he just reached out, and I really, I think God was in that.
Couldn't happen without God.
Are you shitting me?
Because that's every moment, right?
Right?
That's every moment.
Are you shitting me?
Well, what that is a realization. It breaks out of the fog of distraction and finally, like, whoa, the circumstances could not have been happenstance. It's really like, there's no way this can be happenstance. This occurred because God's hand was in it. Well, guess what? His hand is in every single.
Yeah, see this right
step.
here?
Right.
God just did that.
Everything. This too.
It's a miracle.
Well,
Anyway,
I think there was a quote by Einstein that said you can live your life as if there are no miracles or as if everything is a miracle. I like the latter. Everything is a miracle. No ordinary moments. Every moment.
To humanity, everything's a miracle. To God, everything's natural.
Yep.
So, I guess what I'm trying to say here, and I'm sorry about all my freaking, kind of.
That was wrong, Dan. That was
at
wrong.
At some point in time, I kind of get fed up.
There's no right and wrong.
And you know what does it to me? Is because I care about people.
Right.
And people are being taught things from people
2 + 2 = 5.
who
Right.
are supposed to be in the know, the experts, the spiritual guys. And it hurts me that they're being taught this stuff.
Which leads them to more anxiety and depression and sadness and all that. Versus rest and peace.
And they're just convinced it's true.
Well, here's what you need to do.
And that's hard on
You
me.
need to go say this
Okay.
many Hail Marys, and you need to go
Yeah.
do that. No, like
And listen, buddy, believe me, I get that. Listen, And I've been through this so many times. With family members and people I love and all this. But listen, they are exactly where they're supposed to be
Yep.
at this moment. You know, I'd like to be able to see them recognize God in them here in this realm, because it certainly would help their lives. It would
Rest in
make their
peace.
lives so much easier, but they don't know it.
The anxiety,
They
the
don't-
depression,
they
the
don't- they have
negativity,
no idea.
right? The chaos can
Okay.
disappear, right?
But listen, in a twinkling of an eye, when that body gets burned up or thrown in the dirt, and they return to dust, and who they are wakes up,
Wow, I wish I'd have known this. Yeah, I wish I'd have known this.
oh my gosh, I didn't have free will.
Yeah. Well, think about, imagine if you knew now what you knew in high school. If you could know in high school what you knew
Yeah,
now. Like,
as a child.
yeah, right. So the same thing, when we leave this world, and I've heard some people
Boy, if I
say,
knew.
it's all a lie. Like, their last words were, it's all a lie. This whole life. Guess what? Santa Claus isn't the only lie you were told. All the programming, to include the free will, to include it has to be difficult, to include, you know, good people don't get punished by God, you know, all this stuff. It's all a lie. And once you recognize it, you know, you didn't, I mean, I got pissed at my parents and grandparents and everybody for lying to me about Santa. For a little while, you're like, what? And you get pissed off that the world is lying to everybody. But there comes a point where you're like, all right, well, that's just how it is. You know, we don't go around when we see little kids, hey, guess what, kid? There's no Santa. You know, it's not the best use of our time. But you are okay with that's how the world is. Like Dan started off the conversation. There's going to be wars. There's going to be people that are going to stab you in the back. There's going to be harsh situations that occur that are going to put you on your knees. And that's where you need to be at that moment. Everything unfolds exactly.
Listen, whatever's going on, it's just God trying to get your attention.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So,
Because this is about Him wanting to spend time with you.
mhm.
And how in the world is He going to spend time with you when you're all wrapped around the axle about whatever this world's throwing at you? You got to leave this realm. You gotta die to this ego, this thing that tells you you're something. And you gotta leave this realm to know God. Because He's not in this realm. And He's not in your belief system. That's not where He is. And you can keep going to the program. And you can keep talking to the guy holy crap, that just sounds so spiritual. But that's not where you're gonna find God.
And there's going to be, when you know this, there's going to be health issues with yourself and loved ones. There's going to be financial issues with yourself and loved ones. There's going to be relationship issues with yourself and loved ones. That is everybody.
That's what this realm is.
Yep. No level of understanding.
You know how we know it's true? It's been going on for 3,000 years.
That's the script. And this journey is brief regardless of how long.
Tell me a point in time. Tell me a point in time where there's been peace on earth. Holy crap, I was with some friends a week or two ago. Man, was it last week? And I was sitting there with him and I go, you know, it's so amazing because here we are. We're sitting here talking about, people are sitting out there talking about coexisting with the world. We're all going to get along. You know, if we just had a one world government, you know, the one world government would be so kind and
boy,
they would just love all the people.
Hasn't history shown how that's worked out?
Just
Millions of people
they
dead.
just love all people. And here we are. I'm sitting with these people,
Smart people, yeah.
intelligent people, and I said to them, look at what just happened. Unbeknownst to us, 1,200 miles away, somebody's upset. We haven't been around them. There's been no communication. What in the world? And we think we're going to get along with all of humanity.
Can't get wrong with family and friends.
You
Right?
can't even get along with somebody you thought you knew for 15 years.
Right. Yep. Yep.
Unbeknownst to you.
Mhm.
Huh? Hello? So,
There's 7.5 billion realities. And our reality is one of them, 7.5 billion.
we're going to hang on to this ideology. We're going to hang on to this theology.
That's wrong.
We're going to set our jaw. We're going to clench our fists.
My way or the
We're
highway.
going to hang on to that frickin' thing.
And I'm right. I'm right. They're wrong.
I'm
Period.
telling you, people are brought into this world in the ideology and theology. They die with that.
Yep. Yep.
Holy crap.